Good morning, Richard Calhoun, Creekside Realty, here to discuss real estate in Silicon Valley. This is the screen before I get on. We're here to talk about week 36 in Silicon Valley. The handouts are not posted. They will be after the meeting. I am going to be using the new slides, so this will be an interesting presentation. What we're looking at now is county data for Santa Clara County and San Mateo County single-family homes only. Condos and townhouses, I added that to the mix with COVID. I thought we wanted to look at the global marketplace. They're way more stable. If we're trying to find out what's going on with the marketplace, we need to focus on single family homes. They're the biggest price, they're the biggest quantity of products. These are the new slides. I am very open for feedback on them. What we're looking at is the key indicator, days on sold inventory, then followed by the number of offers in orange. Then we're looking at the available inventory, because the reason we're looking at these three things: DUI is the supply demand ratio, offers is the demand. I've maintained that demand is more sensitive and more indicative of the marketplace than the supply. And then lastly, the supply. Here we're going back to 2014. It's an unusual year, but that's the best place where I have reliable data. I have reliable data back through about April of 13. After that, it gets really sketchy. I figured that people are used to a calendar year. While we're speaking of calendar years, this data is also a little different. I'm not going from Saturday through Friday. I am using a fiscal year to gather the data, and that's because there's 52 weeks plus 1 day in most years. Some years there's 52 weeks plus 2 days for leap year. My data year starts March 1st, and then I go 7 days since March 1st. So that allows me to compare apples and apples, and we'll see some of the comparisons coming up. But anyway, so the result of this data is only through September 6th, which is still very current. I have comparison data for the 13th for past years, but I don't have data for September 13th of this year. But anyway, the blue line is the DUI. You can see that it's been improving. You can see earlier this year it went down. So here it's the exact same data, but I only go back to 2019, and that's so that we're looking at more recent data and you can see the trends. I also start on the first of the year. These are quarter lines, the vertical date lines. I go through the first of next year just so that the scale is uniform. Earlier this year, starting around April 1st, the market really started to slow down as far as days unsold inventory. Then basically shortly after July the 1st, it started to improve. You can't really tell anything because of the holiday. Available offers or offers accepted, you can see they skyrocketed up. They peaked right around April the 9th. Then they came down and they bottomed out right around July the 4th. Then they turned around and improved ever since. So the market's been improving. Inventory started to grow January 1st, earlier, but it normally does. So that wasn't anything that set anybody off. And then it started to grow more rapidly around April the 1st. It peaked around July the 10th, and then it started to decrease. So the inventory is going down, number of offers are going down, DUI is going up a little bit, which is actually a negative thing if you're looking for speed of the marketplace. Now we're looking at the second slide. This is looking at DUI, and I'm looking at the best 10 percentile, the median, the slowest 10 percentile. Again, you can see we go back to 2014. I don't know why this is showing so many months. I only meant to have yearly for that data. Same data slide here, just going back to on January 1st, 2019. You got your quarterly vertical lines coming up. So here, the dark blue line, and I'm trying to be consistent with my nomenclature so that you can follow the slides from slide to slide easier. The dark blue line is the current data. I guess it's 8 years, 13 through 2022 that we had. So the red is the hottest, the black is the median, and the pale blue up here is the coldest. You can see earlier this year we were hotter than we had been for any of those 8 years, 2014 through 2021, and then obviously the current year. And then right around April the 1st, it started to slow down and became equal to the hottest year. and then it rapidly transitioned all the way through a normal year and a cold year, and it became the coldest year we had since 2014. By coldest, I mean the slowest, and then it turned around and improved, and we're actually doing better now. The market's hotter right now than the median from 2014 through 2021. So the market has definitely been on a gyration, but that's typically what does happen. It spends very little time in this black area on a balanced marketplace where you'd think it'd spend a lot of the time. It's either in a red hot seller's marketplace or an ice cold buyer's marketplace, are rapidly transitioning in between the two. Whether we'll come all the way down to be back in a hot marketplace is anybody's guess. You can't tell with this data point because it's the holiday. Now we're moving on to looking at the number of offers. So this is the demand side of the equation. This is the same concept. Here we're now doing, just since January of 19, you got your quarterly vertical lines so you can do reference points. Again, the dark blue line is the current data. The light blue line is the worst, the ice cold marketplace. The black line is the median, and the red line is the red hot marketplace. So the red hot marketplace for number of offers would be the most number of offers accepted in the past 5 weeks. And so what happened, you can see that the number of offers accepted came down much faster than it normally does, turn around and abruptly has been increasing at a time when the market is normally cooling. And again, this data point is really hard to tell because it's the holidays. Holidays really impact the real estate market. Real estate is an optional event. Anytime you have a major holiday, the buyers are doing other things and they go away, and sellers go away the week before because they don't want to be exposed to their house on a holiday weekend. Here's looking at the activity side of the equation. Now, just since January 1st of 2019, same concept, but now red hot is still a red hot marketplace, but that means low inventory. So the red hot marketplace is on the lowest side. The ice cold marketplace is when you have a surplus of offers, so it's on the top side. You can see the market normally increases, and starting right about here, you can see the slope of the blue line was steeper than the slope of the black line. That's saying that you were gaining inventory in 2022, don't gain a year, more rapidly than we normally do. And then you can see that we peaked up right around July the 10th, something like that. And the available inventory has been falling ever since. It normally starts falling around July 19th, but when you combine the two counties, you can see here it's still typically going up, which I find to be interesting because in Santa Clara County single family homes, it normally peaks right around July 19th. In order for this data to be continuing to sort of go up on the 7-year median of 14 through 21, it indicates that San Mateo County inventory must peak later in the year. That's one reason I'm not combining all four. The other thing I'll share real quickly too is I have this data. If someone can tell me a reason why I should focus on San Mateo County, Santa Clara County, the combined counties, which is what we're doing, or some other or all four counties being Contra Costa and Alameda County, I have all that data and I'll do it. I am leaning towards doing just San Mateo County and Santa Clara County as my normal presentation, but I'm open to changing. This is the magnitude of overbidding, a different display than I normally do, and the colors are sort of coordinated. The lowest number here and the top are both in blue. These are sort of the minimum and the max. Now, granted, I went only to the 2.5 percentile and the 97.5 percentile. I did that intentionally because if there's a data point error, and there is all the time, I talked last week about the listing that was reported sold at $510 million instead of $510,000. If I was looking at minimum and the maximum would impact my data. By coming in 2.5%, I'm really not changing the numbers. I get rid of the errors most weeks. Between this line here, the top line and the bottom line, both of which are the navy blue, basically you have 95% of your data points. And the concept continues. The gray lines from this gray line to this gray line are the 10 percentile and the 90 percentile. So 80% of the data is between those two lines. And the data we're looking at is the magnitude of overbidding. And the green lines, the light green lines, are the 25 and the 75 percentile. Those are percentiles that a lot of statisticians work. So 50% of your marketplace is in between these two numbers. And then the dark two green lines, the dark green solid line is the median, which is the 50 percentile overbid point, and the dotted line is the average. So you can see the difference between the average and the median. Here is the same data, same color coordination, just since January the 19th. So you can see overbidding basically peaked a little bit earlier than DUI. And what that tells me is that the buyers sensed their other buyers going away before it impacted the data. And that is where we were using up the number of unsuccessful bidders on each property. This is the time period that we were going from 10 offers on a property down to 3 offers on a property. When you still have 3 offers on a property and it sells right away, it doesn't impact your DUI offers accepted, but it does impact the perception of the buyers that pulled back on the magnitude of their overbidding before April 1st. So I was basically saying DUI peaked right around April 2nd, April 9th, depending on what, area you're looking at, but it was very tight in there. Clearly, these data points are a little bit before April. In fact, I would almost say that they go back to about March 26th. Granted, it's only a week, and they may even go back a week or two earlier than that, but somewhere in March. So the buyers that were actively looking perceived there was a difference in the marketplace before they were impacting the data. So you can see that all of them have come down. You can see the plateau in the recent weeks where we're leveling off. Keep in mind, the leveling off that we saw, or the turnaround to the improvement, happened right around July the 4th. To get this list price to sale price ratio, we need the closing sale price, which is 5-week lag time to close escrows. So this data is still going to be coming down, but about 5 weeks after July the 4th, which is just about now, we're going to see this data level off and probably improve slightly. It's a little early to tell. Now we're looking at the frequency of overbidding. The first one was the magnitude of overbidding. This is the frequency of overbidding. This isn't current data. The dark blue line here is the times when you're above 100%. The orange line is when you're below 100%, and they're in order of priority is what they are of meaningful data. And then the gray line is those that are exactly equal to 100%. So this line really doesn't change much and is just the leftover between the sum of these two. The overbidding is more important than the underbidding, but both are useful, so you can see them here. And then the next slide is going to be the same data just since January of 2019. Right now, here you have an equal number where they cross of overbidding and underbidding, and it's under 50% because you have the little percentage down here that's selling for exactly right at their asking price. Right now, once again, we're at the point where the number of properties selling under asking price is over those selling over their asking price. Over asking price is basically 40%, under asking price is basically 50%, which adds up to 90, which means you're exactly offering the offer price is right around 10%. This now is the list price here since 2019. This is back to the percentile. So the outside line blue are 97% and 95% of your data. So 95% of your data for single family homes in Santa Clara County and San Mateo County sold between, I'll call it $900,000 and call it $55.2 million, maybe $5.3 million. That's where 95% of the market was. 80% of the market is between this number, which is right at $1 million, and this number, which is about 3.6, maybe 3.55. In about a $2.5 million range is where 80% of the properties sold. And keep going in, 50% sold between 1.2, call it, and something like 2.3. And then this is the median, which is, hard to read on the graph, obviously, but somewhere around 1.75. And then this is the average. The median is more meaningful, but now you have both of them on there. This is sold price. The reason I was putting list price on here is obviously sold price is more interesting. This is list price of the properties that are sold. What I'm planning on using in future weeks is the list price of offers accepted, which when the overbidding is not insane, would give you an indication of what's happening with the sale price 5 weeks into the future. So this will be a future looking slide typically. This is going to be the sold price, same concept back to 2014, now back to 2019. So you can now see the current sold prices. You can see the sold prices peaked right about here, which is right about May 1st. And there's a lag time between when the market conditions change, which, was as early as about March 26th. And, actually potentially 5 weeks before that, because the March 26th is when the overbidding was at its max. And it's 5 weeks before that because of the length of time to close escrow. Yes, some people might say it's closer to 4 weeks. And in a hot marketplace, it is closer to 4 weeks. So somewhere around the end of February was when the buyers were paying the most, overbidding the most. And now you can see the sold prices peaked much later than that, around the June 1st, so almost 60 days later. The reason for that, 5 days, a month, 5 weeks, a month to close escrow. And there's a lag time. A lot of people that are out buying aren't up on the data. They're not up on the savvy. There's a hysteresis in the marketplace where it takes time for people to react to it. And so the prices peaked later. And with that, we're done with that presentation. I'm open for any questions. If there's any slides that you would like to see that I normally have, I do have that presentation that I can go open to, but I'm open to doing whatever anyone would like me to do. I think in that case, not hearing anybody, maybe what I'll do is just go through the normal presentation quickly so that people can see what I'm leaving out and see if you want me to merge any of these slides over. So now we're looking at the 4 counties in all the Bay Area counties in both types of properties. So here you can see the number of offers accepted continue to climb, but we have a deficit. We're about 900 offers low compared to where you'd expect it to be. You'd expect it to be right here on the horizontal line. This is raw count in a table form. You can see 658 offers were accepted. That's the lowest on here. We're real close back here in 2010. These transactions already all fell apart. So that's as low as that number's going to get. This number will most likely go lower as escrows fall apart. It will go higher initially because of late reports of offers accepted. It tends to increase about 5%, but then it will start decreasing from that. So my prediction is it will be lower. And I'm only going back 10 years, which is to 2014, significantly lower than all the years in the last 10 years because you're under 700. And the lowest, I think, is this 881. It's quite a bit lower. This is the breakdown of the 4 counties. You have the condos on the right, and you have single family homes, which are more meaningful on the left here. Now we're going to blended data, which is Santa Clara County and San Mateo County, both types of property. Here is the overbid. So here's your March 26th maximum overbidding. You can see that we came all the way down to this orange line, which was just last week. You can see that the purple line has improved. So the amount of overbidding has gone up fairly significantly in just the last week. I was maintaining last week, we sort of plateaued. The dotted lines are your oldest lines and the best lines. The dashed lines are the second oldest and then the second best. And the solid lines are the most recent and the worst. But you can see there was some bounce here. So I was basically calling it a plateau. The current purple line here, which is the broadest down through here, and it's hard to see it, but you can see it right there, right underneath the green, is a significant improvement. So that would tend to indicate the market's now gone from getting worse to a plateau, and now we're probably going to be turning around and going back up. Same data, less data points. Here's looking at the available inventory in the blue, the number of offers accepted. The reason this plummeted is we just went through Labor Day. There was less new homes the week before. Now this is the weekend where this red line is going to turn around and go back up. You can see the sellers took last week off. They came back on the market this week, which is exactly what I would have expected to happen. This now is looking at DUI. DUI is still very respectable here at 40 46, something like that. Anything below 40 is a red hot seller's marketplace. Again, you can see that we cooled up to about 65. This is one of those data points where the lower the number, the hotter the market is, the faster the market's turning. But any number right around 45 is still pretty good. This is 5-year median, which is 15 through 19. And that was one of the reasons I went to the new data, is to get a bigger base and be consistent. This is just looking at new listings on the blue line, number of offers on the red line. So you can see we got much closer together. When you had a lot more sellers coming on the marketplace than were leaving with offers, you clearly had a slowing down of the marketplace. This is DUI, the biggest indicator. You can see the rapid slowdown, turn around and improved. This is looking at days on market. I really think that's a pointless data slide. Here is your sold price. You can see that we peaked, we've come down, and in a lot of areas, we're back to basically where we were on pricing as of April of 2021. That was the normal recap. Here's the number of new listings, blue data point, which is quite a bit lower than where you'd expect. So we have less new listings coming on the marketplace than we normally do. That's helping the market improve. Here's total inventory. That was a little bit of a shock to see that we're now below the normal inventory. We were in Santa Clara County for a couple weeks, I think around the 77 percentile. San Mateo was a little bit above. Here's the number of new offers. Number of new offers is below. That doesn't surprise me because Labor Day was in week 36 essentially of this year, where normally it's in week 35. Here's my heat maps of the DUI of the different areas. I guess that would be a real good slide to bring over. Here's the chart going back in time. You can see how we were real red here at the beginning part of May, and that wasn't even the peak of the marketplace. And then you can see that you got pretty pale through July, and now you can see that in August and September, you're going back to red. How red we go back, I don't know, but this is getting pretty red. That's going to be leading to price increases in competitive marketplaces. Here's your days on sold inventory. It's going up right now, but that against the holiday impact, you can see the slowdown earlier this year, the improvement during the month of July and August. September hasn't happened yet, so we don't know. In the holiday, you really can't tell. Here's just the same slide compared to the normal. So here's where you normally are, and we're a week separate here. So this marked difference in behavior. The rapid increase in my median is a week earlier than my rapid increase in my blue. Next week, the blue is in a decrease, and then after that, it will be useful again. Here is the magnitude of overbidding. You can see there's no red anywhere except for San Mateo County. You got a little tiny shade of red here if you got real good eyes, and a little darker shade of red up here in Daly City that I think I can almost see. I think everybody should be able to pick up the red shade here, and some people may be able to pick up the red shade here for Foster City. Here's the overbidding over time. You can see we came way down. You can see we appear to be leveling off. We got down to basically where the average overbid in Santa Clara County and condos was 100%. San Mateo County didn't make it down there. It's leveled off at maybe 100.7% or something like that. Here's the overbidding by itself. This is 1 week data, so it fluctuates a little bit more. You can see we're definitely plateaued, but we're headed back up to the sellers getting more than 101.5%, which is my threshold of calling it a red hot seller's marketplace. So here's the frequency of overbidding. How common is overbidding? You can see we're basically at 40% to 50%, depending on what type of property we're looking at. Here's the overbidding frequency. You can see we're somewhere around 45% of the sellers. You can see it's been flat for basically got down here probably week 31. Could even argue got down here and maybe as early as week 28 and been basically flat since. Yes, there's a little overshoot. There's always a little overshoot. Here's the price distribution map. And what was noteworthy to me was the 3 areas here in San Mateo County almost have an identical median price, 2.1 for 2 of them and 2.15 for the Bay Cities. That's why this whole area up here is almost the same color as their median price, which is what assigns the color, is basically identical. And then the red of the color, the higher the price of the homes, the blue of the color, the cheaper the homes. Here's your percentile breakdown. Here's the appreciation by the different micro market areas. What to me is shocking is you went here from basically somewhere in the 40, 50, even 64% appreciation. I think this has got to be the worst, but Foster City's a small market area place, but from 64% appreciation down to 7%. Now, if you eliminate that because it's a small market area, look at East San Jose, South San Jose, Central San Jose. It went from 46% over their 2020 pricing for the whole calendar year down to 9%. So someone that bought at the peak is upside down by, if you just do the math, call that 10% as 36%. It's not going to be quite 36% because they paid 136% and they're down to 100% now. That would basically be a 25% price reduction, but it's still a pretty significant price reduction from the peak of the marketplace. Here is your breakdown of the different components. DUI, the most important one, you can start seeing red coming back in the color. This is 5 weeks, so it's meaningful. Now, sale price is magnitude and frequency is always in a lag behind. And I believe I grabbed, these are both magnitude, even though it's labeled the frequency column. These are going to be lagging indicators, whether you're going from a red hot marketplace to an ice cold or vice versa. And now we're going from the ice cold marketplace back to almost a red hot marketplace. I mean, if we weren't in the hottest marketplace we've ever been in, these numbers would be a hot marketplace. And this gives you the conditions for the different micro market areas. Sorry about duplicating the magnitude of overbidding. Here you can see the breakdown of the components. You can see there's a shortage in Santa Clara County of only 80% of the inventory you'd expect it to be. San Mateo's at 115%, so it's a little bit higher than you'd expect it to be. And Santa Clara condos are exactly where you'd expect it to be. DUI, Santa Clara County is at 38. Anything under 40 is a red hot seller's marketplace. San Mateo County is balanced at 42. Santa Clara County condos is hot at 37. Here is your magnitude of overbidding: 100% in Santa Clara, 101 in San Mateo, 99.8 in condos in Santa Clara. So the average condo owner in Santa Clara County is getting just under their asking price currently. This is the overbid frequency, and these numbers are clearly correct. 40% of the sellers in Santa Clara County single-family homes are getting over, 47% in San Mateo County, 41% in Santa Clara County condos. And again, the appreciation is what to me is standing out at 18.6% for 2-year appreciation. That would be fantastic. 9% a year. Nobody would complain about that. But in 2021, you were at 25% appreciation. We've lost all the appreciation we gained in 2022 and some of the appreciation we gained in 2021. And I said it earlier, we're getting back close to the pricing we were in April of 2021. You can see we're below the pricing we were on June 29th in Santa Clara County, below December 4th in 2021 for San Mateo County. They wrapped up at the end of the year and had brought over some of the 2022 appreciation into 2021. But, at 9%, you're again back to that around that April timeframe. And the Bay City's condos are actually lower by 11% than they were in 2020. Part of that I need to disclaim, which is why they have crossouts through this, is there was a large number of higher density, lower cost townhouses, condos built in the Redwood City area since 2005. They start hitting the resale market about 7 years later, and therefore they're really, when you do the average of 15 through 19, there was a lot without that inventory. Now that inventory is on the marketplace. The thing that would be valuable in that area would be the DUI, which is a little bit higher than all the others at 85 days. So it is a slow marketplace, but not as slow as the inventory would indicate, with 3 times the level of inventory you'd expect. Going into Santa Clara County only, we're looking at 5 weeks. Here is the data. The purple line is the current data. You can see that it came down to somewhere around what did it get down to? 35%, and now you're back up to something like 38%. This is DUI, so not percentile. We got down to somewhere around 35 days on sold inventory. That was okay. I got my reference point. Sorry about that. So here is July 1st, which is where I said the market started to turn around. The market on DUI actually started turning around more around the middle of July. So it depends on what benchmark you're using. And then it turned around and improved. This coming up here is because of Labor Day. I expect it to drop back down after we get past Labor Day. But here's the hottest DUI, which is the lowest number. This is the coolest DUI. So we're doing better than the typical year from 2015 through 2019. This is the Delta DUI. This is the difference between the median DUI and the actual DUI. So we were much above the median. Here you can see right around August 15th, we hit the median. And since August 15th, we've been below the median. Here's the 7-day average. And that's just to get rid of the spikes. So you can see the market came up, rolled over, came down, and now it's starting to probably level off. Here is not comparing apples and apples. It's sort of forward looking. It's comparing data for normally that I get on October the 6th to data I got on September the 9th. It's a very seasonal data, so it's not comparison, but it gives you some idea. And where you do is you come down to DUI, 38 days. It's a lot higher than the last 2 years, but it's also a lot lower than 2018 and 19, which I don't think people were particularly complaining about. So we need to keep everything in perspective. We came out of the hottest marketplace we've ever been in. You can't expect the market to be that hot all the time. Coming down here to overbidding, here's your magnitude of overbidding at 100%. You can see that is some of the lowest numbers since 2012. There were lower numbers back in 2010 and earlier than 2010. The frequency of overbidding at 40% is one of the lowest we've had since 2012. It was higher than a lot of the years before 2012. So basically coming out of the 2010 recession, as we were pulling out of that, is when we started to get into the superheated marketplace. And with that, I think I'm done. Even one more slide. Comparing apples to apples will advance. Now we're sort of looking in the rearview mirror. This is comparing August data, which is as of September the 5th. And here you can compare straight across and see what's going on. This is a direct comparison for August. And with that, that's my beginning slide. Here are my URLs. If you want to join live, just type in the whole green and purple URL. The green is what I call my root URL. If you want the handouts, which I'll post, and I'll post both PowerPoints since I raced through that and got them in there. And I would love feedback on what I did right, what I did wrong, how much of the new data you like versus how much of the old. I will bring over some of the old because like the heat maps are pretty cool. So I'll probably do a better job of integrating. Getting it up there was quite a chore. To put it in some order of magnitude, there's almost 500,000 property records, and I went back to 2013 and I did 52 weeks for each year. My computer was just spending the last couple months crunching numbers, so I should be able to clean up my presentation a little bit. So sorry it was rough around the corners, but I'd love to hear what the viewers that come on, especially those that watch later too, because you're the bulk of the people. I appreciate any and all feedback. If I don't have a question real quick, I'll wrap it up and call it a day. Any questions? All right. Take care, everyone. Bye now.